Okay, the next video that I want to do is on sleep and mental emotional rest. I think these are a couple of things that are hugely important for actually making gains. So a lot of people talk about how you need to work really hard in the gym and that's where you're going to see the gains, and that's true. If you're half-assing it in the gym, you're probably not going to see results even if you do get sleep and if you're rested mentally. But what I personally have found over the years is as I've been able to get more sleep and be more in touch with how I feel emotionally at the end of a day when I'm heading into a workout and, mentally, am I equipped for today's workout, or is my central nervous system completely blasted from, maybe 3 really intense workouts back to back to back over the last 3 days. I take account of where my sleep was at, and I don't use that as an excuse. If I don't get as much sleep, I don't necessarily not work out that day. Some days when I don't get as much sleep, I'm in more of a fight state, and so I end up having a much better workout because I'm ramped up. My heart rate variability is not the best, but I'm just in a fight mode and I'm ready to go, and so I fight and then I sleep a lot better that night. Something to take into account if you are a strong fit person and you are using neoprene. 2 to 3 times a week for neoprene is, if you're doing it right, 2 times. If you're doing it half right or mostly right, 2 to 3 times is about as much as you want to do. And you will find that while you may not be sore at first, in the first couple of days, you will be completely drained mentally. You will not have the get up and go. If you perform the workout correctly using the neoprene, you will not have the get up and go to do another intense workout or really push yourself all that hard in the day after, which is why I would say keep track of where your mental and emotional health is at, where your central nervous system is at, how much sleep did you get, when you took in your protein, did it actually knock you out, did it help you to go to sleep? I'll get into the nutrition thing in another video, but this is very, very important. You should be, people talk about you should be getting 8 to 10 hour, 8-ish hours of sleep a night as a baseline, as a minimum. That's true, and it's not true. You need to get whatever your specific body needs to get for sleep. So for instance, for me, if I've had an incredibly intense, long, high volume, heavy workout, I will sleep better that night. But I will also sleep longer. And if my nutrition is on point, if I've dropped the carbs down, if I'm not taking in as many carbs, I do protein and fat at night, and my dreams aren't crazy out of control, I will sleep for a much longer time with much better deep sleep, much better REM sleep. There's always a balance to how much fat you take in at night. You should be taking in a good amount of fat during the day as well. We'll get into that. That's a different thing. But all of that will help you gearing up towards going to sleep, which sounds a little funny to gear up to go to sleep, that it would take effort for you to go to sleep. But nowadays, with people's circadian rhythms being off, their anxiety being high or unbalanced, people's circadian rhythms start getting a little out of whack, and it can be difficult for people to go to sleep at a good time, get to sleep so their body can perform all the functions and the organs can do all their drains and flushes that they're supposed to do, and then you recover the way you should, getting deep and REM sleep. So just closing your eyes and laying there for 10 hours, you may not be getting quality sleep. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that quantity is not everything. Quantity is not everything. Quality is definitely one of the more important things. You do need quantity. If you get 3 hours of quality sleep, okay, maybe that was all you could get. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a young kid that's keeping you awake. Maybe your kid's sick. Maybe you went to bed late because you were partying with people and whatever. Chances are you're not going to have great sleep, and you're not going to feel real recovered the next day, the next morning. All that to say, be very mindful of how you sleep, and in my opinion, sleep is more important than the gym for a lot of other reasons. The gym can help you physically, it can help you mentally and emotionally if you use it correctly, if you use the given apparatuses, whatever, correctly. it can do that. But if you do not get sleep for a long enough time, you are, and without physical exercise, you can make up for not having that physical exercise later on in life, right? But sleep is one of those things that you cannot make up for. There are so many studies out there. There are so many people researching this. There are so many people on this. Dr. Kirk Parsley was the first guy that I really heard talk about this on the Barbell Shrugged show, on the old show, back when they were still producing content, back when Chris Moore was still alive. Now they've kind of shifted to something completely different. Anders Varner, that whole shift was kind of where I stopped watching them, which is fine. That's their thing. Anyway, all that to say, Dr. Kirk Parsley was on their show, and he was talking about it. He's a former Navy SEAL who became a medical doctor when he was done, and he was talking about the guys in the Navy SEALs getting so much less sleep for so long a period of time that they were actually giving themselves brain damage. Their brains were actually shrinking. Their brains were actually getting smaller. And he studied in depth the detrimental effects of lack of sleep, and MRIs, all that kind of thing, sleep studies with people, with college students, everything like that, sleep deprivation, what it does to you. And then there were other studies that have linked sleep deprivation over a long period of time to a buildup of proteins in the brain's limbic system, and the inability to clear those proteins, which only happens when you're asleep and in deep and REM sleep. Those inabilities to clear those proteins result in a buildup of proteins that you cannot clear over time and after a while, and then results in Alzheimer's. There was also a lot of research done on the storage of new memories that you get during the day. They go into the hippocampus, I believe, and when you are in deep, when you are in REM, that is the time when those memories get stored into the peripheral areas of the brain where they should be stored. Otherwise, the hippocampus acts as a sponge, and it can only take so much. If you've ever tried to fill a sponge up with water, it does fill up, and it continues to fill up, but then the water just runs out of it. It doesn't fill up with new water. It's just the same water stuck in there. Unless you squeeze it out, start again, right? So the brain, from what I understand, and this is a very simplistic understanding of it, there are so many more layers that I'm not getting into and that I don't necessarily know and don't necessarily need to know. All that to say, you need quality sleep, you need quantity of sleep. Different days require different amounts. All of this comes back to you feeling your mental state, feeling your sleep state, feeling all that stuff as it goes. It fluctuates. It's better sometimes. It's worse other times. In the wintertime, it's dark. You're probably going to want more sleep. As it gets to be more summer, the light is going to come back. I live in Alaska, so in the summertime, it's light pretty much 24 hours a day. It gets a little dusky late at night, and it's a little dim very, very early in the morning, but it's pretty much light all summer long. Then in the wintertime, it's pretty much dark all winter long. It's a little bit of an exaggeration. With the solstices, it works its way one way and works its way the other way. That's just the positioning of the place that I live. All that to say, circadian rhythms will fluctuate, they will change, and you need to be aware of those for yourself, because yours is going to be different than somebody else's. And if you're not paying attention to that, or if you're reading what somebody else is telling you to do for the perfect balance of this, that, and the other thing to get your sleep and your mental state right, chances are they're basing it off of what they've read. Chances are they're basing it off of what they've experienced personally or what some people around them have experienced. And while that may be a great starting point, it's probably not going to be specific to you and what you actually need. Anyway, so all that to say, sleep, super important, probably the most important thing. I don't take drugs, I don't take pre-workout, I don't drink coffee anymore. I used to drink coffee, but I don't. And it just helps your sleep. It helps you sleep better, helps you sleep longer, helps you sleep deeper. Make your sleep a priority. If you're not making your sleep your priority, you will pay for it later in your life. It's just the way it is. I've watched a number of people go through it, getting Alzheimer's as they get older. There are a lot of contributing factors. I'm not saying sleep is the only one. I'm saying sleep is one massive one that you can control that has been correlatively linked to Alzheimer's. All of that to say, try to get better sleep. I can give you tips on how to get better sleep. We'll get into that when we get into the nutrition portion of this. I know I'm not a certified nutritionist. Believe me, I don't agree with most of the stuff that they're saying to do. And I've proven that out personally, and I have thousands of other people that are in some closed groups that I'm a part of that are proving this out daily. But for now, focus on your sleep. Get better sleep. If you're not getting better sleep, let me know. Let me see if I can help you out. Let me try and get you some better sleep. Let me know. We'll talk about that, but keep track of your sleep. Keep track of your mental and emotional recovery. It's definitely going to help you out.